Welcome back to TSSA Talks. We are here at the Exit Inn in Nashville, Tennessee, sitting on stage with this partnership with Exit Inn and Tennessee State Soccer Association we're really excited about. We are going to have the third part of our interview series here with Jamonn Brady. Jamonn, you talked as we ended the second segment talking about kind of the impact that can be made and how that's a big part of the careers we choose. We could probably, and I have a bunch of friends who are mortgage bankers that I hope will watch this series every time, and we could probably go work in their offices and probably be a little bit better off twice a month when that check hits. But we're doing something that I think for us, they fill their cup that way, we fill ours with impacting lives. And I'm grateful for my organization. You've been very grateful to your organization for the opportunities. I don't want to claim that I haven't been well treated and taken care of.
For sure.
But there's more lucrative things perhaps we could have chosen to do.
Sure.
As you look through the lens of your professional landscape, one of the things you mentioned to me was how impactful your parents were on your journey, not to this specific career path you had laid out, but to where you are and the way as a man you live your life as a father, but the way family has shaped your impact and your desire to impact things. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. So my parents instilled in me the awareness, I would have to say, amongst many other things, but the awareness of the idea that when I'm out and about, when I'm living my life, that it's not just about me and that the world is watching, and that when I do what I do, I can't just do me, I have to do us, meaning I have to represent our home and the foundation and the principles that we're taught there. And I'm also representing the community as well. And that, people look at me and form an opinion about more than just me. And that's a human thing. We look at other people and form an opinion about more than just that person, whether it's has to do with religion or politics or whatever. And so one of their huge teachings was that stuck with me was, regardless of your differences with other people, whether it's skin tone or what have you, make sure that you represent us well. And so when given the opportunity to impact as many lives as coaching has done, that's one of the things that I keep real close to heart, is making sure that all these different kids whose lifestyles are totally different from kids that are growing up in communities that are largely homogenous to ones that are not, whether that's homogenous from a standpoint of a largely Latino community or a largely white community, Asian, you name it. There's those homogenous communities within our culture, within our society, period, to make sure that when I represent myself, that I'm also representing them, and I'm also representing the families that I grew up with, the church, the all-black church that I went to, and all, that I represent that as well. And that people are looking at me and making a determination about a bigger picture based on how I carry myself.
Well, and I think there's something really important, I think, that people can take, whether they happen to be people of color or people of a majority, that when you go out on your given day, you represent your folks. Yeah, I mean, I lost a parent a while back. But a family remains close to me. I do think about, what would my mom think about that? Or did I go too far? Representing your family is something we all probably carry with us. But I think it's important to note that there's an extra weight that you carry, and you're not making any excuses for it.
Not at all.
It's a way you're serving more, but you do have a weight that you carry to say, look, I'm also representing the Black community.
Yes.
And I think that's important to know. For any number of people out there, we don't know what weights they're carrying.
Yes.
And I think as we are in such a divisive time, that trying to find ways to understand and have more grace for people to understand that, gosh, there may be some weights that person is carrying. They may be about family. They may be about their community, who they represent, that really could potentially be causing extra strain on that person. And I hope that could maybe give everybody a chance to go, wow, do you really know what that person, you and I have worked together for several years now, but I see differently perhaps, and I'm not going to, we don't judge each other on less of a standard, and you're not asking to be judged on a different standard.
No, not at all.
But is there a way to perhaps be more understanding? And when there's so little understanding going on, maybe we can do a better job of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, just to that, we get caught in our own bubble, in our own world, and empathizing with others sometimes is tough. But again, my goal is to try to disarm because of the what I feel is as perpetual images of a scary black man. So I try to disarm others just with kindness and a smile, and hope that is something that sticks with them as much as some of the other images that are either media related or what have you, going forward. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And kind of on a side note, like my wife has a gym in Nolensville Summit Sports Center, and that community is fairly homogenous. And when I'm there and helping and working there, it's quite interesting, and it's something I kind of took note of years ago as she got started. But the reaction of little kids when they see their first black person in real life, yeah, I mean, and it's something that I almost kind of cherish now. Like, it's something I look forward to. Like, when a kid looks at me, they're like, "I've never seen anyone like you in real life before." I mean, it's a very distinct look from a toddler, and I embrace those moments of kind of disarming that kid, even for whatever their thought process may be. Who knows? When they see another person that looks like me, not only not being shocked by seeing them, but thinking, I bet that guy or girl's like this guy or girl, and being open and willing to interact with that person. So,
man, Jamonn, that's powerful. So as you talk about disarming, as you talk about empathy, I mean, words we could use a whole lot more of it, as trying to almost pattern expectations from people.
Yeah.
I mean, those are big topics you're trying to tackle there. And talk to me in that context talk to us about what is that. How do we take those kind of things? How do we take this lens that you can see through? What's your dream? What's your goal for what soccer looks like in America? What's your goal for what soccer looks like in Tennessee? What's your goal for what soccer looks like in Middle Tennessee, where you live? You're the 615. We care about the 901 and the 423, and the 865, and all the other exchanges as we continue to grow. But talk to me as local, as global as you'd like to, about how we can take those experiences, those lenses, that empathy, that disarming, and how can we all try to make a better place? What does that better place look like? How do we get there?
Yeah. So, man, that's a really heavy question, because all of the past experiences have led to all kinds of ideas on how I would like for it to look going forward. But just kind of quickly scooping up from the past, that the transition in my mind from black friends calling it a white boy sport to owning it as my sport came during the Olympics back in the 90s, when I saw African teams play. That was my first time really just watching soccer on TV and all that, knowing that there were teams from all over the world, but actually seeing a team of only black people wearing those green Nigerian jerseys and going out there and handling business in a lot of those games in that tournament was a game changer for me. And not only that, but then starting to then follow soccer outside of the little bubble that I lived in, and seeing that some of those players went and played in England and played in Germany and played, and seeing the interaction between players after the game. But there was a time when jerseys were exchanged, and, you saw players of not just different ethnicities, but different countries and almost different worlds, hugging after the games and things like that. And that spoke volumes. And so then going fast forward into where we are now, I feel like if we can, as a community, as a soccer community specifically, be more embracive of all the different sections of our community and bring them together, the empathy will come. In coaching the 2001 boys, it was a fairly diverse little group. Had white kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids on the team, and as kids, they all had to interact with each other on the field, but then that led to them being friends, and friends spend the night at friends' house, and friends come over to other friends' house to eat. And just as when I was a kid, people coming to my house were like, "Man, your family's different. The things we did at the dinner table were different than when I went to other friends' house." And they got to experience that, as I got to experience with them, and that side of things, is where I think the most growth can come. Getting more kids involved, maybe trying to find ways to lower the entrance barrier into, I guess, what you would call mainstream soccer, or maybe trying to do some reverse way of that, where that mainstream soccer is filtered out into some of the smaller communities that are, again, a lot more tight knit. I mean, you go to any soccer field in 615 on a Saturday and the sun's out, there's people playing on it. Maybe a mixed group, maybe an African group, maybe a Hispanic group, maybe an Asian group. But rarely do you find like truly mixed tournaments and truly mixed teams and those cultures coming together on a local level the way you see it on TV with the organized, world soccer.
Yeah. And as we wrap up here today, Jamonn, I want to thank you for so many of these things. First of all, just joining us and sharing your experiences. But one of the things that really resonates, at least to me, and I can't believe it won't resonate to all of our audience, and I hope our audience will be a lot of different kind of people. I hope they will have some of these conversations and take these conversations and have their own conversations about it. But one of the things you struck me, we talked earlier with Desmond Armstrong, who was on an Olympic team, and back in in 88, he played in the Olympics. He and Jimmy Banks were the first, two black men sort of to make it to that level. And I think that may have impacted some people. But I think it's really powerful what you said, that it wasn't necessarily seeing black men represent the U.S. that really, again, turned a switch another way. It was seeing a team of people that look like you, all playing together with a common goal, and that it didn't. You don't all of a sudden. I mean, you don't walk around wearing a Nigeria jersey. No. It's going to be a Liverpool jersey if you see Jamonn anywhere.
Right.
But that really was a powerful impact to you, and how it changed your perspective and the way you looked at things. How can we continue to change perspectives? How can we address some of the socioeconomic? Really, there's economic barriers to our sport.
Yes.
Significant economic barriers. They're being talked about nationally. They need to be being talked about locally.
Yes.
How can we also try to continue to find ways to make people feel comfortable, to feel like they're included. A part of our team? You're on my team.
Yes.
I'm on your team.
Yes.
The more we can help people to see that, we want more people to come out and be on our teams.
For sure.
So, Jamonn, a great big thank you to you.
Yes.
Thank you for the work you are doing. Thank you for the work I know you're going to continue to do. Thank you to the folks at Stones River for helping to support you with all you do. As we sign off here for this episode of TSSA Talks, another great big thank you to the folks here at the Exit In. We're great partnership we're developing with the Exit In and Tennessee State Soccer Association to bring these conversations to you guys. Please let us know what you think about this. How can we continue to shine a light and bring empathy, to bring some disarming, to bring progress to this world and this great game we all love? Thanks. We'll see you next time at TSSA Talks.